Hey Rip City, this is Deni Avdija, and you're listening to the Blazers Balcony with Brooke Olzendam and Casey Holdahl.
Greetings, Blazer fans, and welcome to the Blazers Balcony presented by Spirit Mountain Casino. Episode 153 of the Blazers Balcony presented by Spirit Mountain Casino. I am Casey Holdahl. I'm joined by my friend and co-worker, co-host, good friend at her palatial estate in Southwest Portland. By the way, those potholes are getting to an absolute, so since we've done it at your house a couple times there, I've been tracking the condition of them.
You're making me mad.
I don't understand how that's legal. The potholes in front of Brooke's home are, this is not a joke, legitimately 2 feet deep and jagged, and you can't even avoid them because they're situated in such a fashion that when you try to miss one, you hit the other. It's almost like someone did it on purpose.
Okay, can I just can I defend myself slightly?
That's not a knock on you.
Well, it feels like that because every time an Uber comes, I walk out, I'm like, I'm very sorry.
That's not your fault.
I know, but it feels like my fault. No, I'm not. I know. I'm not.
Okay,
I'm not taking offense to you.
Okay.
But it is such an issue in my life that it overcomes. It's every day. It somehow I have to talk about the potholes in front of my house. And I'll say this. When I bought this house 10 years ago, I came and looked at it, and the potholes were maybe a little bit they were bad. And as I was looking at the house, I loved it. And I go, well, and I said to the realtor, I was like, well, this is like a temporary thing, right? He's like, it has to be. The realtor's like, it has to be. This is crazy. They couldn't
possibly allow this to continue.
Well, this was my best friend from high school's little brother, who the only house he ever sold was to me.
I was going to say, they're going to sell that house.
Yeah, I love Jared Bear sold me this house and then got into banking, and so he did not know a lot about the street, but he just told me it can't be. They have to fix this. This is crazy. I'm like, okay. So I bought the house, assuming that it was a temporary situation. The potholes are going to be fixed very soon. Again, that was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And then 2 years ago, there was a guy that came out and had one of the, those guys that come out with the sticks and they're looking and
surveyors.
Surveyors. So I ran out. I saw him in the front. I sprinted out. I was like, please tell me you're here to fix my road. He's like, well, we're in the early process of it, and I can tell you that there will be significant improvements in the next 2 years.
Yeah.
That was a little under 2 years ago. So we're still waiting. But then another thing happened, and then we'll move on, that my other neighbor who shares the same road as I came over to me, and we were talking. I was like, what is the deal here? He's like, well, truth of the matter is this is a weird situation city-wise where we own our own street.
Right.
I'm like, well, I will pay to get it. I will pay for the whole street. I will pay to get this street fixed. He's like, well, then you have to get you have to go and get a permit to close the street for a week, which they won't do.
Yeah.
And then you have to pay for it. I'm like, I had no problem paying for it. It's such a problem in my life. I will pay for it.
I mean, what you guys need is a dump truck full of hot asphalt to go down your street at 2:00 in the morning when no one's up and just open up the gate and dump it out and just keep on driving.
That's a good idea, because our other neighbors have thought of other weird ideas, and they put bricks in them.
I've seen those bricks, and they break down. So my idea, and then we will move on. Mm-hmm. So when I was pulled in, I was behind your mailman, and I was almost going to be like, "Can you talk to the federal government about this? Or how about this?
Let's get the mailman involved.
If the mailman, you run your truck into that pothole, and you have a workers' comp claim for whiplash and for maybe a contusion, because, again, worse than I've ever seen.
I know.
And then maybe at that point in time, it's like, the government at work here should be doing something about this. And you, federal and postal employee, you're going to be the one that I'd be like, hey, can we follow up with this somehow?
Yeah, it has to be a government worker.
It has to be.
Because they're not going to, they don't care if I get whiplash.
No, yeah.
And no, trust me, whenever I pull in, like Theo, my son, who we bring up always on this podcast, whenever, it's still we pull out of the same driveway every day. And every time he's like, ugh,
yeah.
Ugh.
They should do a Damian Lillard Toyota commercial with you and your.
Well, because
you have. I didn't want to say what car you have because I don't want people to.
That's okay. I talk about it. It's a Land Cruiser.
Well, right. You need it because you need the 4-wheel drive to get through your street.
That's what we joke about. Is that when they sell it, they're like, it's really great off-roading. I'm like, good thing, because I off-road every time I leave my garage. I off-road home. I off-road away. Every time I'm off-roading, not because I'm enjoying off-roading. It's because it's where I live.
Yeah. It's really simple.
Now I'm mad.
Yeah. All right. Well, now we got you all fired up for this edition of the Blazers Balcony Trailblazers. Also, a little reason to be mad, too. 2 straight losses after having 4 really good wins at home.
Wasn't it 5?
Was it 5?
We won 5 straight.
It was 5 straight. Okay.
I don't know if it was 5 at home, but we won 5 straight.
I thought it was 5 of 6. Yes.
I thought it was 6 of 7, and we went, oh, God. Casey and I are...
To the internet.
To the net we go.
No, you're right. Brooke gives 5 straight.
Yeah.
Casey shorting the Portland Trailblazers a win. What a
Why
jerk.
would you do that,
Why
Casey?
would I do that? Exactly. With a hater. The hater.
Haterade. The reason I know it was 5 straight is because we did the open with the mascots.
Oh,
and I
right,
said, 5
yeah.
straight. Let's
5
make
straight.
it 6.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I remember that.
That's a good line. I just kept saying that they were undefeated in 2026. And,
that was a good thing, too.
Yeah, that was good as well. They made it 10 days into 2026 without a loss, but unfortunately, since then, losing to the New York Knicks 123-114 at Moda Center on Sunday, and then following that up with a 119-97 loss to the Golden State Warriors in San Francisco for the final game of the series.
Can I just say one
on
quick
Tuesday?
thing?
Brooke, you can say 10 long things.
The only time we lost to the Warriors this season was when I wasn't there.
So when we were talking before coming on here, and we were both expressing our annoyance that the Blazers weren't able to get that win, part of me was like, but Brooke, then someone else would have had to do a post-game interview with one of our players, and I feel like that's something that you would not appreciate
That's
very
a good
much.
point. That's a very good point. I didn't think of that. You're right.
So they lost that game just so no one else would have to talk to the national
thank you,
national
then.
TV. So
Thanks, guys.
shout out to the players. Yeah. Hey, we'll take this loss.
That was very sweet of you.
Yeah.
I was watching, obviously, at home, and it's funny because Theo had soccer at 7, or it ended at 7, and so I was like asking his best friend and their family to come over and we'll watch the first half. And it's a school night. But that morning, as I was driving somewhere, I heard on the radio that it was an 8:15 start. I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot. NBC and Peacock's always so late when it's the second game. I was like, never mind. So I had to text him like, just kidding. Like, I will be watching the second half in bed, and I did. I watched the first half in the living room, and it was obviously not great. And I was like, dang it. It was weird. Like, more air balls than I recall seeing in the first quarter.
A lot of air balls. Yeah.
That's not usually what we see. And some turnover. It took them a while to kind of get into a groove. And they made some runs. And anyways, my point is I watched the second half in bed, and I was sad that I wasn't there.
Yeah, so the Blazers, as I mentioned, they have their win streak, and their homestand ended with a loss to the Knicks, 123-114, and in a game that something just felt a little bit off. Like, it just seemed like the Blazers haven't beat the Knicks at home in like 4 years at this point in time, which is a bummer, and I think they have like a 6-game winning streak overall versus the Blazers. And they've been playing so well. They get those back-to-back wins versus the Rockets. Really good basketball in both those games. Really fun environments at the Moda Center, too. And then to wrap it up with the Knicks, like, it just felt like every time that it felt like the Knicks did to the Blazers what the Blazers have been doing to other teams, which is like they would get up and then they were just like, no, like, you guys can make a little bit of a run, but we're going to do enough to hold you off. Yeah. And it just never felt to me like they were able to get over that hump versus the Knicks. And it almost felt like they were a little tired or like something just didn't seem right. And then Deni Avdija goes down with a back injury late in that game, and they're not able to have a comeback at that point in time. Though I didn't feel like that one was in the cards anyways. And then you go to Golden State, and you talk about like air balls and things like feeling a bit discombobulated, which makes a lot of sense because Deni Avdija missing his first game this season versus the Warriors, and as the team's de facto point guard for the last 2 months, it would make sense that things would seem like they were maybe not running it as well as they would. And Jrue Holiday now back in the lineup and has been playing more. Played 16 minutes in his first game back in the loss to the Knicks. I think played 21 or 22 minutes in the game versus Golden State. Did not start the first half, did start the second half, and I think played basically like 11 straight minutes, which I asked him after the game. And he's like, yeah, I would kind of just prefer to actually play all those minutes together rather than kind of having them go back and forth. So in that third quarter was when the Blazers were able to make a little bit of a run versus the Warriors. I think they got it down to like 12 at that point in time. But losing Deni when he's playing as well as he is going to make it very difficult to win any game. But it's also at this point when you get down to we don't have Deni, Jeremy, and we haven't had Scoot and Chris, and we have Jrue back but in limited minutes. At a certain point, it's like there's not enough guys right now. And I think, that game versus Golden State, I mean, it does tell you how important Deni is to this team. But also outside of that, it's just like, hey, it's really hard to win an NBA game versus a good team when you're down, 5 of your top 8 guys at this point, somewhere around there. So that one to me was more like, hey, you can overachieve a lot, and the Blazers have overachieved despite injuries this year. But at a certain point, like, there is a breaking point. And I feel like Deni being out and not a whole lot of guys being back in the lineup yet is kind of that breaking point.
Well, what I would say is Deni is his own offense. Like when Deni's not there, it's like now you got to run something. Like now it's like, okay, what do we do here? Deni goes out there and just kind of creates offense. He is the offense. You know what I mean? Like he goes downhill. It's not there. He finds his teammates. Like, I don't know if we talk enough about his assists. Of course, a score first guy, and he's great at that, and he will get fouled. He'll get fouled and one, or he'll just get fouled and go to the line. But if it's not there, he is phenomenal at finding the open man.
His decision-making, too, and that you're exactly right. Like, he has really taken a next step in that regard.
And I don't want to take away from anyone else, but like when he's not out there, you see like that kind of is the Blazers offense where Deni goes downhill, and whatever's there is, then we roll with that. And so when Deni's not out there, you kind of have to, okay, no, what do we do? And it's hard because I think that everyone else, like all the other guys on the team, like do their own thing and like things they bring to the team are positive. But it's so different when Deni's not out there because we've come accustomed because he's never missed a game. We talk about this. He's like the toughest guy in the league. He played in every single game up until he got injured. And you just get used to watching that as their offense. And so now it's like completely changed. We're like, Deni's not there. What do we do? And so it's different, and it's not going to happen overnight.
No.
Not to say that it's not going to work out in the end. Like who knows how long Deni's going to be out? We hope it's not very long. But let's say a couple more games. It might take a little while to figure out how to play without Deni because that's how we've been used to playing. Mm-hmm. The offense is around what he does, and so now that he's not out there, like guys are like, okay, well shoot, Deni's not here. I'm not out here on the 3-point line waiting for Deni to pass it to me and then drain a three. That's not what it is anymore. So they're going to have to figure it out, and they will. But it's going to take a little while because he's played every single game.
Yeah.
So they're not accustomed to this style of basketball when Deni's not out on the floor. So I wasn't totally shocked by what I saw in the Golden State game. Like I think there was a couple of things where I was a little bit like, oh, things aren't discombobulated was the right word. And it took a little while. They made a few runs, but I wasn't totally shocked. I think it's just going to take a little while until Deni comes back to figure out how to play without him because he's been such an integral part of their offense. Yeah. Like how do you work around not having him when you're so used to having a guy like that?
Absolutely. I mean, I guess I will say too, though, that Thiago was very adamant that I think part of this is coaching. He was like, I didn't feel like we brought the requisite effort and attention to detail that we should have brought in the first quarter of that game. Obviously, losing Deni is going to have a result. But I got the sense both from Thiago and from the players post-game that game was going to be difficult without Deni regardless. But they also didn't feel like they basically kind of held up their end of the bargain in terms of being, I wouldn't say ready to go, but they felt like they kind of got jumped on early, which they did, which you also know is going to happen. You beat the Warriors the first three games. Oh, yeah. You're back in their house. They also know that you're missing a bunch of guys. Like they're going to try to jump on you, and they did. And they had that run in the first quarter where I think they hit like 5 3-pointers in a row.
Oh, like
so seeing it go that direction again, when you're down as many guys as they are, not surprising, but also I did think there was something to be said about the team. And like, yeah, obviously we're missing guys, and that's a problem. But we've been missing guys all year long. And I think for players too, they don't want to put it all on one guy either. They're like, well, but yeah, when Deni's out there, that's great, but also like we've been missing a lot of guys all year long. We've still been able to be competitive. So we feel like we should even be competitive now, even when we don't have Deni. And that is true. But at a certain point, it's like you look down the bench and you're like, we don't have a whole lot of guys that are available to play even. And you're exactly right, Brooke. To even start kind of when Deni really became the primary ball handler, like it was a transition for him. And I think his turnovers have gone down. It was like kind of an issue, but you deal with it because you're being aggressive and you don't have a lot of other options. So even for Deni, it took a little while to kind of get there. And then you lose Deni and you get Jrue back, which is great. But other than that, there's no guys on the roster who are playing who are really have experience creating for other guys and getting a team into an offense. And you're right. Like Deni is that hub, and there's just not, I mean, Caleb has done a good job with that, but he's a rookie and he's learning and really more of a kind of a scorer at this point in time in his career.
Yeah.
And Jrue is obviously going to be great at table setting, and as he's able to increase his minutes, obviously that's going to help them endure whatever they're going to lose from Deni being out for however long he's out. Hopefully, you're right. Hopefully it's not too awful long, but you assume maybe a couple more games. But Jrue is a different kind of creator than Deni. There's some similarities. Jrue does like to get into the paint a little bit, but just a different texture
honestly,
to that.
Casey, can you think of any other player in the league that is like Deni right now?
I
can't think of anyone who just literally goes downhill, puts his body on the line, just gets hammered, and if he's even in the mix, like as he's getting hammered, finds a guy out there, on baseline 3. I know that he's been compared, and you have compared him to LeBron, maybe back in his day.
Yeah.
But I can't think of another player that like the offense is literally revolving around a guy that drives, and whatever decision he makes is the offense.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of go down the list of looking at some of these guys who are – so Deni right now is 12th in the NBA in assists this year, which, again, is –
I thought he was higher than that.
Insane. Well, and at least in assists per game. He might – considering that he's played almost every game this year. Actually, he probably – yeah, let's go totals here. Just
dive into the stats.
ESPN's not going to give me a totals option. Come on, guys. All right. Hold, please. I'm not going to let ESPN's decision to ruin their stats pages keep me from answering the questions.
Should I sing or tell a joke?
Yeah, you should tell a joke. For someone who's into as much comedy as you are, you should have like a bank of jokes that you tell.
Okay, so I just want to say it's so amazing what Leonardo DiCaprio has been able to accomplish. I mean, he's won Oscars. He has won Golden Globes. He's done all of these amazing things all before his girlfriend turned 30.
That's a very good Nikki Glasser.
Glazer,
sorry.
Don't disrespect my queen.
Yeah, I assume that you watched the Golden Globes and you heard the Blazer joke.
Yeah, but she butchered it.
Well, when I heard it, I was like, one, obviously Ian wrote that.
100%.
And two, I was a little confused. I was like,
well, if she would have
nailed it. Is this like one of those non-jokes where like the punchline is that it doesn't make sense, or
it was? Yes, I thought about this deeply. It's because it didn't make any sense. It was totally random, and the only people that would like appreciate it were us. And that's how much I love Ian Karmel, because he put his professionalism on the line to make it like 8 of us happy, and I died. But as soon as when she said, I love Nikki Glasser, and trust me, as someone who's on air, I've made many mistakes and flubbed lines and not misspoke. But if she just would have nailed it, it would have been great. She said, now we'd like to welcome the 77, and then it was kind of it was like I lost it. It was like the Trailblazers championship team. Bill Walton. I think he's Maurice Lucas. Maybe I can't. She said 3. Jerome. Anyway, and then she said Anna de Armas, which obviously she did not play on the 90. It was supposed to be funny.
But I think she also said Chris Pine.
Yeah, because they were announcing. They were They were giving the awards.
Oh, well, right. But also Ian has a running joke about how people confuse him for Chris Pine.
I've never heard that one.
Well, he on social, he like.
Got it.
It was like his Instagram was like, oh yeah.
I mean, I get how funny. I get the humor in that. But I think Chris Pine did give I don't know. Anyways, but I saw that whole thing, and because I got a text like from my neighbor. She was like, did they just shout out the 77 Blazers on the, I text her back. I was like, you're so cute. I doubt it. And then I turned it on. I was like, oh shoot, they did.
They sure did.
And, but like, she just accidentally kind of just said, again, easily. She said 77. And not to say that ruined the joke. It was still funny to me, but like, it was kind of like, people were probably already confused. And then when she said it was very confusing for everyone but all of us here in Portland. Absolutely. And I don't care. I love it.
Yeah, no, I was glad. Shout out to Ian for representing.
God love him.
And that's great.
I messaged him and I said, the 77 Trailblazers, thank you.
Yeah. And by the way, Deni Avdija is 6th this season.
I knew it was higher than that.
Well, yeah, I mean, people generally use average as kind of the standard ranking. But yeah, but nowadays maybe you shouldn't, because obviously playing is super important.
But think about that, Case. As someone who is score first, right? Let's be real.
Yeah,
he's going downhill.
Sure.
He is putting his body on the line. His number one goal is to score. And the fact that he is 6th in the entire league in assists, that means that is like one of the best decision makers in the league, which we already knew. But like when you really think of it like that, like I'm going downhill, my goal is to put that ball in the basket. Oh wait, it's not going to work on this. It's not going to work here. Who's open? Bam. And he's 6th in the league. Like that's so impressive to me.
I agree
that you can figure out a way if it's not going to work for me on in the middle of the action. Not going to work. Who's open? Oh, City. Who now? Oh, God. Guys, just so you know, it is City. It is City. It is not City. It is City. It has been a whole journey through the name of CD City. It is now City. He is apparently, we've been calling him CD. He didn't want to say anything. Now he's telling us for sure it's City. So this is where we end here.
There you go.
City.
Stamp it. City.
Stamp it. City. And that's why the other day when I interviewed him, I said Rip City, because that people have, brought that nickname up, which was very cute. And he liked it. So Rip City. And he'd already heard it, but he's like, yeah, I think that's cool. So City, this is his name. But back to my point is that I think it's just like underrated what he's able to do when he goes downhill and still finds a way to find guys and they hit shots. It's truly a gift that I that's why I asked you to look it up, because I can't think of anyone else in the league that does exactly what Deni does.
There's not. I mean, I think there's some Luka to his game. I think.
Oh yeah.
I think James Harden. I would say a couple years ago, a little more in that. Though I mean, James Harden is averaging 8.6 free throw attempts this year, and Deni's averaging 9.9 free throw attempts this year. So about the same range there. But
not as much.
Not as much, though. Which, by the way, since you mentioned City, the conversation in the locker room last night was a pretty good one amongst the players. It was what language is the most beautiful language? And there was there was a long debate. Yeah, sure. Let's hear it.
Italian.
Italian was not. So French was like that's what some people said, but then like Toumani was like, no, it's not French. And then they were talking about the difference between Toumani's French and Rayon and City's French. And there were debates about Toumani's French being a little too like hard edge and being a little more melodic when guys like Rayon say it. So
Rayon has his own version of like he says it very. I like
Rayon is the most. I mean, we have City's French, Rayon is French.
I feel like City's like street French. Like he says it in like a cool way.
It's a different. Rayon is definitely like the most French guy on the team, I think, and that's not to take anything away from anyone else.
No,
but like
if
you're like engaging in French stereotypes, I would say that Rayon is definitely the.
But I love
one.
it. Like it's like soothing.
Yeah, no.
But like I love City because I'm so used to it. But he says I love the way like so there was an interview I did. I think I told you about this where I was interviewing Rayon and City was in the back and he was taking a video of it because they're boys, they love each other. And so he was like being like, "You're doing great, sweetie," like in the back. And then he comes up and he's like, he was like telling me like, "Ron, you did great, you were great." And the way that he speaks like French is like, I feel like if I spoke French, I would talk like City does, because it's like it seems like he's like just like shooting the what.
Yeah.
And then like Rayon, like I feel like he's saying poems when he speaks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
It does make some sense. Yeah. I think they would probably agree with that as well. And that was like part of the discussion was kind of how you come to the language changes how the language sounds when you're speaking. I was trying to, and I think they basically all decided that it wasn't French, but again, French is always one that people just assume like.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what are some of the other
options
they threw out there. Someone might have mentioned Italian. Yeah, but no, I don't. And I think there was some discussion of Chinese as well because obviously Hansen was there. I think they were more like discussing languages at that point and less like deciding which one was which. I said Portuguese, but I don't think anyone heard me. So.
Oh, well, that's...
Because like Portuguese is like French and Spanish basically together.
And doesn't Tiago speak Portuguese?
Well, it's the language of Brazil.
Yeah, so I like Portuguese. I think it's a very nice. It feels soothing to me as well. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Chinese. I like listening to all other languages, and it makes me feel like a terrible person because I need to learn the language. And every year when January 1st comes, I'm like, this year Duolingo. I'm going to sign up. I'm going to do it, and then I never do.
Yeah. Well. I think at this point, I think the translation services are getting to a point where they'll be doing that work for us. So
AI.
Yeah, or just they have like the United Nations. You put the little thing in your ear and they translate it for you. In sci-fi, that's like a thing where, like in Star Trek, like everyone has like an implant that allows them to be able to understand other languages.
I hated Star Trek.
Yeah, no, I can see that. It's a dreamlike state, and I know you hate dreams. So.
I hate them.
Yeah,
I hate them.
No, you don't seem like a sci-fi person.
I hate sci-fi. Why? It's not real. When are we going to be in a sci-fi? When am I going to be in a Star Trek plane? Like, never.
Yeah.
I'm not. Spock. I'm never going to be that's never going to be in my life. I just would rather watch Heated Rivalry.
The fact that we've made it 26 minutes into this and you have not mentioned Heated Rivalry, I was going to say
if anyone, ladies, are you listening? Ladies, if you haven't watched Heated Rivalry, you're doing yourself a disservice and start right now. Best show on TV.
I just don't like hockey.
Doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with hockey. Literally, hockey is the fourth thing in the show. Like, I mean, you'll see it, but it has nothing to do with the storyline.
Yeah, the way I don't like shows about Hollywood, I also actually don't like shows or books about sports. Like that's, I work in sports. I consume enough sports as it is. I don't need it in my outside work life.
Okay, fine.
Much.
But also, like, sometimes those stories are based in sports, but they're not really.
That's true. They're
about sports.
Allegories. Yeah.
Yeah, like this one, Heat of Rivalry. Like, you don't have to know a thing about hockey. Trust me, I don't know. I mean, I go to like a hockey game like once every 5 years. I think I told you I took Theo when he was 4 to the Winterhawks game. And I was like, let's do something fun we've never done. So I took him to the game. The first minute, full brawl breaks out. And he starts bawling.
And they're like 14-year-olds too. So like they're kids fighting.
No, I forgot that they fight. Theo's sitting there, he's 4, and he's got popcorn. He starts crying. He's like, why are they hitting each other? I was like, I forgot about this. I'm so sorry.
Such a tender young man.
Oh, we had to leave. Because he was like, why are they hitting each other? And I was like, I totally forgot. I was like, I'm so sorry. This isn't allowed in this sport. He's like, why is it allowed? I'm like, I don't know.
Which I saw a video the other day of 2 guys fighting in an NHL. And I gotta be honest, it was a fight too where like the guys were just circling each other and like getting ready to bare knuckle. And the referee's just like standing there circling them. Yeah. I understand like getting into fights in the heat of the moment. This was just like, we're just gonna fight.
No,
like, and it's like this seems kind of childish to me. And as someone who likes fights in a lot of respects, to me it just seems so performative. It was like, dude, you guys don't really even want to fight right now.
It depends on yes, some guys just want to like look like they're gonna fight, and some guys really do want to.
I shouldn't have said that. I think they did want to fight each other, but just the idea that guys, they're literally stopping the game for a minute so you guys can just kind of like circle around. Yeah, and again, it's like if a guy like hits you and then you punch him and then that starts a fight. Great. Mm-hmm. But if it's like, okay, now we're going to set this next 2 minutes aside for these guys to kind of wail on each other, and then we're going to break it up after 20 seconds. It's like this just.
There's got to be some regulations.
It just seems a little odd to me. Yes, that's how they've kind of settled on how things are going to work.
But back to Heat of Rivalry, ladies, if you haven't watched it, turn it on.
Yeah, no, I think
HBO Max.
I think it's getting quite a bit of play.
I got my mom on it. I mean, that's something. And also, there's the One Battle After Another with Leo and Sean Penn. Very good movie. Yes. Highly recommend that. It's also on HBO Max. Yeah. That's how I fell across that. But very good. And Sean Penn should have won the supporting actor. But
yeah, I like him smoking cigarettes.
Did you watch it?
No. I don't.
Casey, you would like it.
I'm also against award shows too. If we're talking about things that Casey doesn't like, award shows are right
I don't care about. I don't care. I just care what they wear. But I don't care about who wins anything. But I would say that you would like this movie. I think I know.
I've seen One Battle After Another.
Oh, you have. Okay.
I've seen it multiple times.
How good was Sean Penn?
He's fantastic in it.
He should have won. Don't you think he should have won? He was so good.
He was very good, yeah. I think in some respects it's like they almost don't want to celebrate that character by giving Sean Penn an award.
Oh,
because
I can see
it's so objectionable.
He was awful, but he was really good at being awful.
I mean, people have talked to about like just the way he walks in that movie.
That's why he should have won the award. The way he walks.
In and of itself that's exactly that guy.
That's so funny. When I watched him walk, I was like, he's going to win an Oscar for this walk.
Yeah.
The way he walked. I thought the same thing. And then when he didn't win, I was like...
Well, and also, Sean Penn, not the best reputation in Hollywood, as I understand it, too. So I also wouldn't be surprised if we were like, you know what? Screw you, Sean Penn.
Well, I have a quick story, and I'll make it fast. I know you don't like it when I go along with my
stories.
No,
okay. I'm going to give a little... I'm going to say a little something here. So...
I do have a Sean Penn story.
So, yeah, well, I'm going to go long here. So, I've looked ways to improve the show sometimes, and I just mentioned sometimes that Brooke, who's a great storyteller, sometimes it goes on a little long. And I had mentioned after the last podcast that I edited some stuff out because I wanted to get it to under an hour. And I hurt Brooke's feelings, and I feel bad about it. And
I already knew that.
I wish I should have done a better job of, one, I should have just kept my mouth shut, which 45 years in, I still haven't learned that. And secondly, like, Brooke, you can tell all the stories you want for as long as you want to tell the story.
It didn't hurt my feelings. I am my father's daughter. I know that I tell stories that have details that do not need to be told. I listen to him every day, and I'm like, Dad, just get to it. And
but also, you're a professional communicator, too. Like, I should not be giving you any pointers about anything.
No, you definitely should, because
no.
Just because I'm on air doesn't mean I don't tell stories too long. Trust me, I know I do. Because when I'm in this situation, I'm like, everyone needs to know every detail about where I was at.
Yeah.
And exactly. But that's not true.
And you also don't, I know for me personally, working for the team, I don't want people I want to be very clear about the things I'm saying. And so sometimes to do that, I probably go on a little longer and reiterate things more than I would otherwise, because I just want to be very clear about kind of what my opinions are. And so I do that a lot too. So, but I apologize, Brooke.
Well, no,
I should not have said that.
You do not apologize. I needed to hear it. I already knew it. But this is going to be this is the new chapter. I'm going to tell this story in the most succinct way possible. Okay?
Okay. Good Sean Penn story coming up.
My mom and I were in Seattle 20 years ago. Pike Place Market. Mm-hmm. I'm not giving any extra details.
Just delay. This is Brooke's Hemingway-esque approach to storytelling now.
We were walking down to the Pike Place Market. Mom goes, I think that's Sean Penn. I was like, okay, Mom. I mean, she's done this many times. No, it's not, Mom. Like, she thinks she sees people all the time. I'm like, Mom, that's a normal dude. It was Sean Penn. So we follow him because we don't have a lot going on in our lives at this point. I'm 25. I mean,
if you see Sean Penn on the street, you should probably follow him.
I was 25. It doesn't matter how old she was, but I'm like, we didn't have a lot going on. So like, let's follow Sean Penn wherever he's going. So we give it like a block. So we're following him block by block. He goes into a coffee shop. Mom's like, well, we should go into the coffee. I was like, absolutely. So we get in line behind Sean Penn in the coffee shop. He orders just a black coffee.
Of course.
We get ours. I don't even remember. We ordered whatever. And then he's still there. He didn't leave. He's like in the corner. So we walk up. Oh, God, this is embarrassing. So I was like, well, what do we do now? We've been following him for like 20 minutes. Like, we can't just leave. Like, what do we do? I was like, I'm going to go say something. So I walk up. I was like, I love your work. And he goes, thanks. Like, he literally said, thanks. And then turned around and we walked out. And that's the end of the story. But I didn't ask for a picture. I never do that.
Oh,
I never asked for an autograph picture, nothing. But I just wanted to say I said something to him. So I said, literally like a dork, I love your work. And then literally, again, he said, thanks, and turned around like, don't talk to me anymore. And then we walked out and my mom like, high-fived. We're like, that was awesome.
Awesome, yeah.
But he's a very diminutive man. He's very small. He's very wrinkly, but he's so attractive. In my opinion, I love a wrinkly old man.
Sure.
I love him. And I just thought he was like so cute.
You hear that, guys?
I know, I do. I love an old, like, distinguished man.
Yeah.
I do.
No, I know what you're saying.
Yeah. And I was like, God, I love you. And all I wanted to say is that I said something to him, and I did. And then we left. And then Mom and I were like we skipped down to Pike Place Market and got flowers. Like, it was like the greatest day of our lives. Like, we saw Sean Penn today. And literally, he's like 5'2".
Yeah. Hollywood leading men, they're all short.
Yeah.
For as much as like there's all that talk about,
and he wasn't rude or anything. Like, I don't want to say he was.
No.
He was very polite. But
I mean, I think he probably did the right thing there, because also Sean Penn also strikes me as the kind of guy that, like, I bet he's. Yeah, that's exactly what you're going for there, Brooke. The Sean Penn with a cigarette dangling out of his mouth for the New York Times.
I think he looks very attractive.
Yeah,
there.
No,
I love an old wrinkly man.
Yeah.
No, I honestly, distinguished and confidence. I don't care if you're 5'2". I don't care if you're 7'5". If
Brooke, you do like.
I like confidence in a man.
The short guys. You're right too.
I do. I love a short king.
Yeah,
I do.
You're really giving a lot of. Put on a lot of stuff here. We're covering a lot of ground on this edition of the Blazers Balcony, presented by Spirit Mountain Casino.
Well, by the way, last week at the game, I think it was the second Houston game. A lovely lady who I can't remember her name right now, but I love her. She came up. She's like, "You and Casey are overdue." I was like, what do you mean? She's like, you have not had a podcast in a while. I was like, we just did one last week. She's like, well, where's the one this week? I was like, I'm so sorry.
We did. Well, I think we went like 3 weeks without doing one. And but
I was like, we just did one. Yeah. And she's like, well, I'm waiting for the next one. I was like, I promise you we're going to do one next week. So my friend, you know who you are. I love you. And next time you come up to me, remind me of your name. I'm so sorry, but this one's for you. Because she was so cute. She's like, where's the next one? I was like, I'm sorry. We'll get it.
That's
awesome.
Doing it.
We're on it.
I wonder. So I feel like, I've been, oddly enough, like I feel like it's happening a lot lately, and maybe it's because we've just had a run of home games. But yeah, I've had a lot of people, I would say, recently come up and say, "Hey, I really appreciate the work." And yeah, there was a woman recently who was like, "Hey, I really appreciate what you do." And I wonder if it was the same person. Was she wearing a blue sweatshirt?
I don't remember.
Okay. Well, this one was wearing a blue sweatshirt. And I always ask names, and I try to remember them, but I'm terrible at
I know
names.
You and I are both. One of us has to be good at that. Will you try being good at it? Because I'm terrible at it.
Again, at 45, going on.
I've said this on the podcast before, and I've said this other places where I don't know what it is. It's like in my brain, as soon as I say, hi, I'm Brooke, and then the person says, hi, my brain shuts off.
Yep.
It's like, nope, you will not listen to their name. You will not remember it. and just move on. Like, it's terrible.
Yeah. No, terrible is probably not the right word.
It's
but
pretty terrible.
I think also the other part is, in this business you meet a lot of people.
I know,
and
but
at a certain point it's kind of hard to rotate it all.
But like, when do we like change that and say we really need to work on that? Like, I've tried that numerous times and it still doesn't work.
It's a fair point. I mean, since we're in the new year, Brooke, maybe a late resolution is
drink more water, remember names.
Drink more water, more water, more names.
More names and more water.
Trips to Spirit Mountain Casino, which features hundreds of state-of-the-art slot games, including brand new games like Frankenstein Returns. Spirit Mountain Casino is the first to offer Frankenstein Returns. Heck yeah. So don't forget to play it at Spirit Mountain first. Frankenstein Returns. If I could do it all over again, I think maybe getting into slot machines and creating whatever the games around the slot machines, I think that's something I could have done. I really love an interesting slot machine. Even though I'm more of a table games guy, a well put together slot machine I think is a lot of fun.
What do you mean by well together slot
Well, you know how now, like when you're in the casino, like they've got like the 5-plex and they got big chairs and
I know better
visually,
than you do.
Well, I know. Well, that's why I'm kind of surprised that you're pushing back on this.
No, I'm not pushing back. I'm just wondering what that means, like well put together. Like, you're talking my language.
So
what do you mean?
Visually exciting, gameplay that makes sense and ratchets up the more you play. Like having a fun theme.
Yeah.
I love all the game show theme ones. I love
you never win on those.
Yeah, you want to win on Frankenstein Returns, though.
Wheel of Fortune does not ever.
So Wheel of Fortune is one, too, where that's when Bruce and I played when they were shutting down the Mirage. And we were pumping a bunch of money into it because everyone was like, the Mirage is closing tomorrow. They have to pay out all this money. And I think we lost like 2 days worth of per diem and didn't get any of it back. But that's why we should have been playing at Spirit Mountain Casino anyways. And as I mentioned, I am more of a table games guy. And table games at Spirit Mountain Casino are about to get more extreme. At Spirit Mountain Casino, they now offer 21+3 Extreme, where big fun meets big pays through poker-style hands. Our $5 side bet progressive is nearly $80,000 and counting. I hope that's still true. That's a nice little progressive. Could you be the lucky winner at SpiritMountainCasino.com, Highway 18 in Grand Ronde? Elevate your game.
Okay, can I talk now?
Yeah.
I wish you guys could have seen Casey do that. He was very...
I gesticulate too much. You're right.
Enthusiastic with his arms. Like, he was like... You would have thought he was on camera.
I love casinos. I love them.
Don't
I love casinos.
I love casinos.
I'm not saying I love them more than you. I'm saying I love casinos.
We love them differently.
Yes.
Because... So, you made me think of something. When you said... that's why I asked you. I wasn't questioning you. I was asking you what you wanted to...
here today. That just,
I don't know why.
I agree.
Because we haven't been around each other.
I know, exactly. So we got in late last night, too. If we had been together yesterday, it'd be you're right. We'd
love each other more.
Yeah.
But now we're kind of mad at each other. Whenever we don't see each other, we're mad at each other. Because why haven't I seen you lately? Rude.
That's true. And then we don't talk for like a couple days, and you're like, why haven't you called me? I'm like, why haven't you called me? Like, and
I call you more than you call me.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. No, like that.
Everyone listening, I call Casey all the time. He never calls me.
I'm just not a phone guy, but you're exactly right. But like, and the funny part too is I know exactly how that interaction is going to go when I see you. Like, I'm like, we're going to talk about how we haven't talked to each other for a couple days, and we're both going to be like, why not? And I'm going to assume that you're mad at me, and you're going to assume that I'm mad at you. It's
so true. It's so true. So to that exact point, we haven't seen each other for a while. He went on this trip. I did not, because it was a national game. So we haven't seen each other for days. So we're kind of like we're at odds for no reason, except that we haven't seen each other for a while, and we're mad at each other about it. So, but the reason I asked about your take on slots is because I have my own take on slots, and I feel like they do like whatever's going on, like the movie, like there's a movie out that's very popular, and they'll make that a slot. I never play those. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but like I feel like that's like to get people like, ooh, exciting, like that's a new movie, I should play that. Mm-hmm. But that's that means that game's new. Who knows? Mm-hmm. So I like the old ones that have been there around forever, like the fire ones where like you get 3 fireballs, like
Buffalo.
That's my favorite one. Buffalo's my favorite. Dolly Parton, I can't find anymore. And also, I will say I do agree with your take on. I love the slots where it's like when you play like as a team. Like there's some that like there's six groups, like 6 people,
right? Yeah,
and then you all build the pot.
The progressives.
Yeah, the progressives. I do like that, but the progressives are good, and I like the ones obviously that like if you hit something and you get like extra games. That's the only way to make money. Is if you get extra games. So Buffalo is good on that. Yeah. Buffalo, if anyone's listening and you've never gone to a casino and you're going to go to Spirit Mountain, find the Buffalo, just play it for like an hour. You can even, my mom has always taught me to do the max bet, and I think that's great because you win the most. But if you're new at this, it's fine to start low.
Brooke is a absolute max bet.
I'm always
slots player. Well, play Buffalo, but also play Frankenstein returns, which is new at Spirit Mountain Casino. Well, the Trailblazers now back after that road game. And one of the nice things about the stretch the Blazers have been on as of late, I mean, obviously it's great to win, but with so many home games, it's great to win at home, you know? Like, and
it was a very fun run.
It was a really fun homestand, and, you know, you're hoping that maybe they're going to be able to get some guys back. Obviously, as I mentioned, Jrue Holiday has been back the last 2 games. He's already started to ramp up his minutes, so you would hope that's going to continue in the next game, which is Thursday versus the Atlanta Hawks. Jeremy Grant has been out for the last couple weeks, was upgraded to doubtful before the game versus the Warriors, was listed as out before the game, but you assume that means that his condition is improving, so hopefully maybe he's able to get back in the lineup sometime soon. And not really sure what the issue is with Deni right now in his back. I think back stuff is obviously really kind of hard to pin down sometimes. Yeah. If you saw the injury, like he had been kind of grabbing his back a little bit, and then he goes up for a rebound, lands, grabs his back, and then just walks straight to the locker room, which, I mean, anyone who's ever had back problems saw that and was like, yep, I know how that feels.
Well, you know, like our broadcast team, we call ourselves the bad back broadcast.
I did not know that.
Well, Kevin, Lamar, and I all have bad backs. So I was like, I thought maybe Kevin would say something like, oh, we know that, because we all have, at some point, one of us is dealing with a back issue. And when I saw that with Deni, I was like, dang it, I know exactly how that feels. Because it's like a shoot.
It shoots up.
Yeah. It's like an electrode. I know exactly how that feels.
And I think, too, especially when you land like flat-footed in that situation, it's like, bam.
Yeah. He literally rolled the ball to like his teammate and then ran right by me to the locker room. And I was like, dang it, that's not good.
Yeah. Because also Deni, too, is a pretty tough guy. And he wants to keep playing, too. So I wasn't at the postgame because I was doing the KUNP postgame show. Reading the quotes, he was like, oh, you know, I think I'll be all right. Like, and it's like, yeah, come on, man. Like,
well, I mean, it was a nice, like, it made us all as fans and people covering like feel a little bit better.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, he's saying it's not that big of a deal, but that is also one of the toughest guys in the NBA saying that, which means like most guys be like, oh, I don't know what this is. I mean, we'll see how long it takes. He's like, oh, it's fine. I'll be fine. That's Deni saying that, you know, like, we'll see how that goes. I mean, I appreciate his toughness always, but you can't like fix your back. Like, we'll see. I know that he will want to be back as fast as possible, but our staff will also make sure.
And that's what I wanted to get to, is that they're going to have to. You can't lose Deni for an extended period of time, or at least you don't want to. And so you got to let whatever he's got going on heal up. And he had already mentioned that he doesn't talk about it a lot, but he has mentioned a couple times recently, like, that he's been dealing with a few different injuries. And he mentioned that specifically, I think, after the second Rockets win. I think he mentioned, he's like, you know, I've kind of got 2 injuries I'm dealing with right now. And then I don't know if the back is one of those injuries or not. You would hope so, because if not, then that means there's 3 different injuries. But the fact being that he could probably use a couple days off as it is anyways.
Yes.
To your point, Brooke, with the way he plays, how hard he plays, I believe he's leading the NBA minutes this season, doing a whole lot for this team, and that wears on you as well. So you don't want him to be injured, but also if you're going to try to bright side it, it's like then he could probably use a few days off.
Honestly, like, it might be a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
Like, this guy puts his whole body on the line every single night. And it can't be a bad thing. I mean, obviously, like, there might be some losses that you don't want.
Yeah.
But in the long run, it might be a good investment in the team to have him take a few nights off and just get right, and then come back and make a run. Like, that Warriors game was just, in my opinion, like just an example of you said it before, Casey. Like, without Deni, like, I'm not sure what. It's going to go on. And
we've talked about that.
Yeah, and so it was an example. Yeah. I mean, you didn't see it coming, but it was one of those things where, like, you watch, you're like, Deni would change this entire. Yeah. I mean, this game is entirely different if Deni were playing. Entirely. So I think it's good for him to have a few days off, whether he wants to or not. We know him, and he's a gamer, and he would like to play every game, but I think it's probably in the long run a good idea for him to take a few games off. Obviously because of the injury, but maybe just in general to just kind of get right and then come back and try to make a run. I mean, they're still in the mix. I mean, they're still 8
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and they've lost 2 straight now, but after the series versus the Rockets, they're 19-20. They're almost 500.
Yeah.
They're literally 1 game off of 500, which at the midway point of the season, being 500, that ain't nothing.
Let's not forget about what happened last year when they made the run at the end of the year.
Absolutely.
So if that happens again this year, which I don't see why it couldn't.
And especially if guys are going to get healthy, too. The schedule has been easier as of late, and they had a really difficult schedule to start, and it continues to – it doesn't get harder, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So, so from a scheduling perspective, it's not like they're like, boy, we're going to take a step back here.
No.
So, yeah, you're exactly right. An opportunity, if they're able to get everyone healthy, to maybe kind of go on a little bit of a run here. And you talk about kind of the games coming up and having some days off in between. As I mentioned, the Blazers host the Atlanta Hawks on Thursday, 7 o'clock start time on that one. And then a back-to-back hosting the Lakers on Saturday and then flying down to Sacramento to play the Kings on Sunday, staying at the team hotel as far as I know in Sacramento. And then back for two more, a back-to-back on January 22nd and January 23rd versus the Heat and the Raptors. And that's 3 days off in between that time as well.
I know. I couldn't believe it.
So that, I think, gives guys a chance to get healthy. Again, if Deni can play, he should play. But also, I think you look at the way the schedule lines up here the next, week and a half, and if he didn't play versus the Hawks and didn't play versus the Lakers or the Kings, at that point in time, he would have over a week of rest, which I think for back stuff a lot of times is it's like it just needs to calm down back there. Yeah. So, and then at that point in time too, you also hope that guys like Jeremy may be back in the lineup at that point in time. By then, you would assume that Jrue, if he's not kind of past if he still has a minutes restriction or probably a pretty high minutes restriction, Matisse, another guy too, where they were saying that he was having some knee soreness. Who's to say if maybe that resolves itself or maybe that's improved? I haven't really gotten an update on that as of late. But either way, the way the schedule tracks out here, before they go on that little 3-game trip at the end of the month, a chance to maybe get back to winning at home. Next 4 of 5 are at home. They've been playing really well at home, and the chance to, again, if guys get healthy, get back into the lineup. Mm-hmm. And particularly at home, when you're getting guys back into the lineup, there's going to be a little bit of time where there's going to be some transition. I feel like that's easier to do at home than it is on the road. One, because you can practice a little bit, but also two, it's just like being in your own building and having the support of the fans. I think makes it a little easier.
Awesome.
I've said that a couple times now on both podcasts. It's been such a good arena this year. It's been really fun. They're playing good basketball too, and they're a fun team to watch. And they stay in games and they keep fighting. And I think for Blazer fans especially, they want to see wins. Every fan base wants to see wins. But if you go out there and you play hard and you keep it close, I think people respect that, even if you don't necessarily come away with a win.
So, real quick story. Again, quick.
Yeah, this can. I want longer stories.
No, this will be quick. So, I'm from Spokane, as you guys know. One of my best friends, Kelly, 2 of my best friends, Kelly and Amber, they have a friend in their Bible study in Spokane. Her name, I think, is Lauren. I don't know. We'll call her Lauren. They sent me a group text. One of our besties is coming to a game. She's bringing her 2 sons. It's their Christmas present. And I was looking at it. I was like, who? I'm like, do I know this person? And then they were on it. And she's like, no, you don't know me. I'm like, oh, shoot. Because I was like, do I know this person? And then I didn't realize she was on the text thread. Anyway, Lauren.
Which, by the way, that is terrible text.
I know.
Etiquette. You cannot put someone, particularly if they're your close friends, you can't throw in a number in there and just be like, oh, yeah,
I did not see it.
That is not right.
So I was like, who's this person? And then they're like, it's Lauren. Again, that's not her name, so we're going to call her Lauren because I feel bad now.
Protect her anonymity.
Yeah. So anyways, I said, well, can you do anything for her? I was like, it's the night before a game. I'll do stuff for my best friends, bring them down. But I don't know Lauren. I can't do things for people I don't know.
And also, what people say that to me too. What does that look like to you?
Exactly. So this is what it looked like to me. So that's a good question. So I said, what can I do for someone that isn't my very close friend that I still want to do something nice for because they are friends of a friend? So I said, arrive at 5:30, go to the customer service, get a First Blazers game pin. If you'd like to buy something from the store, I will give you my pass. You can get, a discount, or I'll go get it for you, whatever. I felt like that was really nice.
Yeah.
And she was so sweet. She was like, oh, this is so great. But what I didn't foresee, they come to the set, right? And I looked and she's waving. I was like, that must be her because I got a picture of her in the group thread. So I run over. her two kids are wearing Rockets jerseys.
No.
I said, guys, didn't know you're going to be wearing the Rockets jerseys. Like, I said it right away. Like, for some reason, that bothers me more than anything in the world. And I didn't even get them tickets. Like, I will not get tickets for people who are not rooting for the Blazers. That is my hard stance. If you're coming, no, and it's bit me in the you know what a couple times where I didn't realize it, and then I go to see them and they're wearing like Lakers jerseys. I was like, no, you did not tell me you were wearing Lakers jerseys.
And people from the team will kind of like pull your leg about that, and you can't tell if they're being honest about it or not.
Well, let me tell you, it's a strong stance on. I have
no, you are very clear about that.
I tell them now. Ever since I got screwed, I said you will not wear anything but a Blazers jersey or not. But you're not supporting the other team. I mean, it's a no. It's a hard no, and I think that's very fair.
It's incredibly fair.
So I saw them, and I didn't get them tickets, so they're allowed to wear whatever.
And that's I would say that's also fair.
But I was still mad.
Yeah.
So I said, "Hey guys, didn't realize you were Rockets fans." I said it and they're like 8 and 10. So I looked at them.
And they were probably terrified. They were like,
oh, no, they were. And I felt bad about it. And then I softened up after I realized that it came hard. So I was like, okay, Mom, I'm going to give you my pass and go buy them Blazers stuff now. And she's like, yes, I will. So they went
oh, my goodness.
and she got herself a Blazers jersey, like a real jersey. Great. And then she got the older one who had a broken foot. I felt he broke his foot in a basketball game the night before and still came. He was on crutches. He was adorable. And he got a teal, the Blazers, the
PDX one. Okay, yeah.
But the little one was... He would not. He stuck to his Rockets jersey.
Good for you, kid. Everyone in that situation is correct.
You're
right for the way
I respected the 5-year-old.
Went at it.
8-year-old, whatever he was.
I always tell that story. We had an intern years and years and years ago.
I remember
who wore
this story.
another team's gear into the office, and someone high up in the organization was like, "Hey, can you tell that kid, like, hey, come on, like, don't wear that stuff in here."
Obviously.
And to that kid's credit, he was like, "No, I'm going to." And
then don't work for the Trailblazers.
He did not work for the Trailblazers anymore. That is how that story ended. Was his time with the Trailblazers at that point in time was short. So
there is something inside me I can't even explain, but there is a deep rooted. I feel so strongly about that. Where if you work for this team, you are employed by this team, you live here. This is your job. Mm-hmm. You are not going to. I don't care if you're from Pittsburgh or if you're from LA, wherever you're going to wear that. No, you don't live there anymore. You live here. You work for this team. You are here to support this team. They're paying you. It is one of the things I will die on this hill.
We've had employees throughout the years who are fans of Kobe or whatever, and they're a little too outward about it. And people are like, "No, man, that doesn't work. I'm sorry. I guess we can't do anything about it, but we're going to remind you that we don't like this."
You can be a Kobe fan back in your apartment. You can go home and root for the Lakers from your apartment living room. But when you are here on the floor at Moda Center, you are a Blazers employee.
And the other thing, too, is the two guys that I'm thinking of are both Oregonians, and that's the one for me that really sticks in the craw. I'm not even going to say it, but I don't appreciate that.
I'll say it. I feel very strongly about it. It is one of my bugaboos. You cannot do that.
If you're a fan of the Spurs, fine. If you're a fan of the Nuggets, fine. You're going to be a fan of the Lakers. Come on.
Well, even so my son's teammates' family, they're huge San Antonio Spurs fans. Great. They came to a game. I got them tickets. I said, I will get you tickets. You will not wear Spurs. They said yes. Yeah. And I said, you can gently root, but don't go over the top. Because I love these guys.
Don't make me look bad.
No. Yeah. And I stayed with them when I went to Hawaii. They're family. So they're a different version of people I'd give. They're allowed to be Spurs fans. They've always have. But you just can't wear stuff. You can't root outwardly. And you'd have to just chill, just keep it inside. And they do. They did. And honestly, German, their kid, his name's Brendan, they call him German, it's a long story. But he wore a Blazers shirt, and he was all Blazers-esque. And they just kept it in. That's all I ask. Yeah. Don't be outward. Don't wear anything, and I will be fine. But if I can't... Last story, quick. Stacy, my friend Stacy in Boston. I got her tickets.
She hates me, by the way.
She doesn't hate you. She loves you. No.
She rightfully, I think, is annoyed by me. And I think it's perfectly fair.
I didn't. She's never said anything like that to me.
She's too nice then.
Well, she loves Bruce.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because Bruce didn't act like a child.
Oh, I forgot about that. She doesn't hate him. She doesn't. She's the easiest, coolest girl in the world. But her kids, she's from Boston. She lives in Boston, and her kids are Boston fans. I got them tickets. They wore Boston jersey. I said, never again. I told her, I was like, I'm never getting you tickets again. She's like, what? I was like, you cannot, your kids are wearing, I got you tickets. She's like, well, we're from Boston. I was like, you're from Seattle. Your mom worked for Apple. You are not from Boston. You live in Boston, but you're not. I got so mad. And she's like, okay. I was like, well, never again. And so now she knows, like, if I get her tickets, the kids will be wearing Blazers. Never again.
Or at least just be neutral. You don't. I would say you don't have to wear Blazer stuff. And I got to be honest, being in another team's arena, I feel like that's a little more okay. And I support your stance regardless. But I could see a little bit more of an argument of like, well, but we're on the road and this is their team. In my mind, I think people just know how I feel, so I don't tell them. And then when I saw the kids in the Boston jerseys, I was like, what are they doing? And she's like, what do you mean? I was like, you can't do that. She's like, well, we live here. I'm like, okay, but I got you tickets via the Blazers. Like, these are Blazers tickets, and your kids are wearing Celtics jerseys. She's like, what's the problem? And to that point, too, like, usually their tickets are kind of in a block, so they're all going to kind of be together with other people who are rooting for the Blazers. Yes. And
she made best friends with like all of our players' families. She's like, I'm best friends with blah, blah. I was like, well, I'm sure you are, but your kids are wearing Celtics jerseys, never again.
Yeah.
So I learned my lesson.
It's funny you mentioned, too, that like you just assume that people know what you're thinking, because that brought me back to us arguing when we don't see each other for a while, because it's like, well, I assume you know how I feel, and you assume that I know how you feel. So
I know. We should never assume.
Yeah, but we do all the time on the Blazers Balcony, presented by Spirit Mountain Casino. As I mentioned, Trailblazers versus the Hawks and Lakers at Moda Center on Jan 15th and 17th. Quick trip to Sacramento for a one-off game versus the Kings on January 18th, second out of a back-to-back. And then 2 games versus the Heat and Raptors before heading out for a 3-game road trip that spans over a week, because we're going out a bit early. And I hear, too, you guys aren't doing the Boston game. So you guys, as you're talking about Boston, that's going to be a fun little hang for you guys.
I haven't told Stacey I'm doing dry January, so she's going to be real upset.
Oh, well, it's almost to the end of the month.
It's still January.
You could peel it off a few days if you wanted to, but I support you that decision, bro. So that's going to do it for us. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, please like and subscribe wherever you get your podcast to the Blazers Balcony, The Briefcase, Travis's podcast, and any other Trailblazers podcast that you want to listen to, because they're all great. So for myself, for Brooke, we'll talk to you next week.
Peace out. I'm going to keep my story short from now on.
This is going to be a running theme all year long now. I'm letting this run, too. Usually I would stop at the peace out. I'm not stopping it now, because I want to extend this out to just state that this is going to be an issue for the rest of the season. And again, as I mentioned, just keep your mouth shut, dude. 9 times out of 10, it's never helpful. Like, you will almost always thank yourself for shutting up. Take care, everybody.
No comment.